Now at 5, how an initiative in Missouri is aiming to reduce the state's backlog of untested rape kits. Plus, getting here from a Joplin realtor on the current state of the local housing market. And
the clock is ticking for lawmakers to pass key legislation by the end of the year. I'm Skyler Henry in Washington with a look at Congress's to-do list, including the House January 6th committee's deadline to wrap up its work.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
At least 2 people are dead in a shooting in Baxter Springs, Kansas. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Jordan Albee. Authorities responded to reports just before 3 this afternoon in the 2100 block of Lincoln. Cherokee County Sheriff David Grove confirms 2 people are dead, 1 person injured, transported to the hospital. There's no word yet on victims or the suspect. Sheriff says no further threat to the public. This is a developing story, and we, of course, provide more details as they become available to us. A years-long backlog of untested rape kits in Missouri is causing problems for survivors looking for justice. The Missouri's Safe Kit Initiative is a program designed to eliminate that backlog, try to anyway. Missouri has untested rape kits dating back to 1997. Recently, the state received a state and federal funding to test 70% of kits from 2018 to 2020. Still, survivors waiting years to get the results from their kits.
4 years is ridiculous for someone that goes through that to have to wait for a chance for justice, and then that person is just walking free like nothing happened, and they're getting away with it and doing it to who knows how many other people.
Nationwide, since 2015 to March of 2022, the Sexual Assault Kit Initiative program has sent 83,201 kits for testing. Housing market in Joplin is shifting from last year's seller's market to a more even market. Keller Williams realtor Shayla Brown says the housing market in Joplin is moving to a more normalized market. Even though interest rates going up, inventory is coming up and prices for houses are staying on hold. Brown says they are more serious buyers with Christmas time approaching.
Sometimes December is our highest month of sales as a company, so a lot of times people try to get into homes before the holidays, so we've actually had a pretty active Thanksgiving break. We just came off of quite a bit of work over Thanksgiving break, which is good. Hopefully we'll get people into their homes before Christmas and they'll get to start the new year in their new place.
Brown expects inventory to stay the same for the rest of the year with around 600 to 700 homes in the market. Pitt State today announcing a partnership with the University of Washburn. The partnership is going to speed up the process of getting a law degree under the new program. Students are going to be able to spend 3 years at Washburn, 3 years at Pitt State, wrapping up the degree 2 years earlier than normal.
They can come back out into the community and actually work with a firm or a judge or in a prosecutor's office that they want to be back into. So for practical purposes, in 5 years, rather than 7 years traditionally, they can be back out in this community if this is where they want to practice law when they're done.
Students accepted in the program are going to get at least $5,000 in scholarships. All right, Pittsburgh is gearing up for tonight's Christmas parade. Dow and Doug are both there. Let's go to those gentlemen right now. Take it away, guys.
Hi, Jordan. We're going to talk to Doug in just a moment. Let me tell you, first of all, the setup has begun for this parade. It begins at 6:30 this evening. Now, I'm at 10th and Broadway and looking south. This is the parade route, roughly. It's going to run from 10th and Broadway to 2nd and Broadway, which is the usual route. That is still open at the moment, but they're going to be closing this off at about 5:30 or so tonight. And from here north for 4 blocks to 14th and Broadway, it's already closed because they're setting up all of the various entries. There are about 60 entries this year, a dozen floats, they tell me. There'll be marching bands, of course, and dance groups and various entries, including one visitor from the North Pole. I have it on very good authority that Santa Claus himself is going to be here, and at least one other bearded celebrity that is the No Shave November version of Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, it's not a very good one, but it's going to last a couple more days.
Yeah, the beard you're talking about. The weather is very good.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been out here for a lot of Christmas parades where it's been parka weather, and right now it's a little bit breezy, but pretty nice.
I mean, we're going to drop back into the upper 40s. Right now, we're sitting mainly into the mid-50s. The only thing that makes it feel a little bit chilly is the kind of gusty south winds, which are really going to start to pick up as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. Clouds increasing across the region, mostly cloudy skies as we go through the overnight hours. But besides the winds, it's going to be a pretty good evening. Our temperatures will drop back into the upper 40s. But still, if you're heading out to the parade, make sure you bundle up just because it is a little chilly with the wind.
No doubt it'll be getting a bit cooler as the sun goes down, but tolerable for sure.
Not
Worth
too
coming
bad.
out to see.
Dow and Doug, we'll see you gentlemen in a few minutes. Thank you so much. Congress has been out of session for more than a month now while members went home for the elections and Thanksgiving, but it's back to work today. There's a lot left to do in the lame duck session before a new Congress is convened in January. Reporter Skylar Henry has more details now from D.C.
The Senate is debating the Respect for Marriage Act, a bill that provides federal protections for same-sex marriages. That may be in question if the Supreme Court revisits previous rulings.
For all the progress, though, we've made on same-sex marriage, the rights of all married couples will never truly be safe without the proper protections under federal law.
This is just one of several bills Democrats are hoping to push through before Republicans take control of the House in January.
Prices have soared by 13.9% since President Biden put his hand on the Bible. Thanks to his party's reckless spending, inflation is the highest it's been since the fallout of the Carter administration.
Congress also needs to pass the Defense Authorization Act to fund the military, as well as a new spending bill to avoid a government shutdown December 16th. While time is running out for legislative accomplishments, the clock is also ticking on the investigation into the January 6th assault on the U.S. Capitol. Former presidential aide Kellyanne Conway testified before the January 6th committee Monday morning. The committee needs to issue its final report, expected to be 1,000 pages or more.
We certainly don't want the Jim Jordans of the world to cherry pick anything not disclosed and make a false or misleading narrative out of it.
Meanwhile, Republicans are gearing up for their own investigations when they take control.
We're going to investigate between 40 and 50 different things. We have the capacity. We'll have 25 members on the committee, and we're going to have a staff close to 70. So we have the ability to investigate a lot of things.
The Republicans have already announced planned investigations into President Biden and his son Hunter. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
House investigators are also going to get a former President Donald Trump's taxes. There's forms this week after the Supreme Court allowed them access to the documents. They're going to have 4 weeks to review them before Republicans say they're going to put an end to that investigation. The white gunman who shot and killed 10 black people at a Buffalo supermarket pleaded guilty today to murder and hate-motivated terrorism charges. His guilty pleas automatically land him in prison for the rest of his life with no possibility for parole. Prosecutors say 19-year-old Peyton Gendron meticulously researched his targets, seeking a high concentration of black people, and was motivated by a belief in so-called replacement theory. China's government facing some of the largest public protests in decades over the weekend. Demonstrators in the capital, Beijing, if you look at that, and other cities, call on the country's president to resign over strict COVID-19 lockdown policies that have failed to stop the virus from spreading. Protests were triggered after 10 people burned to death in an apartment fire last week in western China, with people blaming the COVID restrictions for preventing fire engines from getting there in time. Chinese authorities have denied that was in fact the case, though. I still had millions of Americans facing issues getting back home after the holiday weekend. And next in Health Watch, how a little less salt could go a long way for your heart health. In tonight's Health Watch, 2 studies involving 8,000 elementary school students in Ethiopia assessed the fallout from pandemic school closures. One found children lost a third of an academic year in lockdown. A second analysis found social and emotional development were, quote, severely ruptured among some of the world's poorest children. Kids were less confident talking to others and found it hard just to get along with each other. There are promising early results for an experimental vaccine to protect against a possible flu pandemic. Scientists over at the University of Pennsylvania tested a vaccine made with known influenza subtypes using the same mRNA technology as the Pfizer and Moderna COVID vaccines. The study shows the vaccine triggers a quick memory immune response that can adapt to new viral strains. A little less salt will go a long way in reducing the risk of heart disease, as according to findings of a new study. Reporter Elise Preston explains.
New research suggests shaking less salt on your food could reduce the risk of heart disease. The study in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology looks at data from more than 175,000 participants from the UK who filled out questionnaires about the frequency of adding salt to foods, not including the salt used in cooking. Researchers say they found people who don't add a little additional salt to their foods very often have a much lower risk of heart disease events, regardless of lifestyle factors and previous disease. The research also examines adding salt and the DASH diet. The diet was developed to prevent hypertension or high blood pressure by limiting red and processed meats and focusing on fruits and vegetables, low-fat dairy, and nuts. Patients who ate a DASH diet and had a low frequency of adding salt had the lowest heart disease risk. Researchers say these findings are important because lowering additional salt, not removing salt completely, is a risk factor that can be modified easily without having to make too much of a sacrifice. They also note that more studies are needed. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
Researchers looked at both men and women. They found women were less likely to add salt to food. They also drank alcohol moderately and were more physically active. That is a look at today's health news. Doug is next. We'll be completely the forecast a bit later. How weather and unruly passengers caused travel issues for millions of Americans this weekend.
Well, of course, we're out here live in downtown Pittsburgh, right at about 10th and Main. Of course, we are going to be starting this parade at 6:30. It's starting to get dark. It actually feels pretty good out here. It's a little bit on the windy side, but the winds are really going to start picking up as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. Let's go outside. Let's look at our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort Tower Cam. It actually looks pretty good. You can see those mid and upper level clouds, which are increasing across the region, but our temperatures have been warming up over the past couple days. Yesterday, only into the 40s. We dropped back near freezing, and then we went all the way to about 60 during the afternoon hours for us today. Temperatures around the region, we are sitting mid to upper 50s to still near 60 degrees. We're only going to drop back upper 40s for us as we go through the overnight hours tonight. 7th and Range Line looks good. We have partly cloudy skies. Outside, of course, we're sitting into the mid-50s, but look at these winds. These are really starting to increase. So we have south winds now kind of at about 10 to 15, but we're going to start to get gusts pushing 50 at times as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. So it's going to be super windy. Through the evening hours, we are going to stay dry. Clouds will start to increase. We'll have mostly cloudy skies after 8 p.m. We drop back through the 50s, only down to about 47. And in fact, our temperatures will most likely rise a bit as we head toward dawn. You can see those mid and upper level clouds increasing across southeastern Kansas into northeastern Oklahoma. We're mainly going to stay dry, but we are going to get a lot of clouds in here tonight into tomorrow as a cold front is heading toward us, so a developing storm system, but most of the energy is going to stay to our north. Quite a bit of snow across parts of Nebraska, Iowa, and Minnesota over the next 24 hours as this storm system pulls out. All right, for us, the four-state area, during the overnight hours tonight, look at our temps. We kind of hold upper 40s to near 50 degrees. We could get a random shower. Let's go back there. We could get a random shower as we go through the morning hours for us tomorrow. But then I think we'll have partly sunny skies by the time we head into the afternoon hours. Temperature is still pretty good as we warm into the mid-60s once again. As this cold front rolls through tomorrow evening, temperatures drastically drop for us tomorrow night. Look at this. We go all the way down into the mid-20s for overnight lows. Plus, it's going to be windy, so it's going to feel pretty cold across the region. Day planner for you tomorrow, 56 at 7, 64 by noon. We drop back to 54 once we get into the afternoon hours. And then look at this. Look at our wind gusts. This is later on tonight, 45 to 50. So make sure you strap down the trash can because it will disappear. And then our wind gusts will start to drop a little bit by the time we head into tomorrow afternoon. So here's your wind forecast. Where's my trash can? We're kind of teetering gone forever. So we're going to put it in neighbor's yard, but teetering gone forever as the winds are going to be super strong as we go through tonight into tomorrow. 66 for us tomorrow. Let's go 42 on Wednesday, 50 on Thursday. We could get a few showers in here by Friday, mainly late in the day, and then we drop again as we head into the weekend. So Saturday kind of cool, rain picking up again on Sunday and Monday, and of course don't forget I'm doing the winter forecast on Thursday night, and we'll get that taken care of for you. Jordan?
You're on to Doug Hay. What a beautiful backdrop for you tonight. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Coming up, check out the rush for online bargains this Cyber Monday, but first, We pause to honor a local World War II veteran, Joplin native Alvin Keller. Served in the South Pacific with the U.S. Navy in 1944 and 1945 as well. His duties took him over to the Philippines, Guam, also Japan. Keller received a Purple Heart. We are proud to thank and salute third-class Petty Officer Alvin Keller. He's this evening's four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, National Retail Federation predicting nearly 64 million Americans to do some shopping today of some sort for Cyber Monday. Experts say online shoppers finding plenty of deals because of retailers trying to move the merchandise. When pandemic-related supply chain shortages eased this year, a lot of stores received extra stock and now willing to cut prices, get rid of that. Experts also expect good deals for computers and other items to continue into December. While in-store holiday shopping numbers, those aren't available yet for Black Friday. Online sales set a new record. We know about those numbers, and a good sign for retailers. Shoppers spent a record $9.1 billion online in Black Friday, according to Adobe Analytics. 48%, or nearly half, of online sales are made over smartphones, which is up 44% over last year. I know I made some purchases on my smartphone. Millions of Americans faced travel delays over the holiday weekend. Weather and unruly passengers caused flights to be delayed, even canceled. Reporter Chris Van Cleve explains.
From highways,
and we've been in traffic all day,
to side streets.
We have hit some pretty dense patches of traffic.
There was no escape from the crush of holiday traffic for millions trying to get back home.
I'm always scared.
Wind and fog caused more than 6,000 flight delays, but fewer than 200 cancellations nationwide Sunday after what had been a fairly smooth travel week.
I'm hoping we get out of New York on time because of the weather.
The flight was supposed to be at 6:50. We didn't take off until 11:30. By the time we landed here, it was close to 2 a.m.
Flights were halted in the New York and D.C. areas for hours Sunday as airports expected to have their busiest day since the pandemic.
Planes are full, airports are kind of hectic.
Packed planes and the holidays brought out the worst in some flyers. While incidents of disruptive passengers are down 80% this year after soaring during the pandemic, the Thanksgiving travel period was marked by a number of incidents. Football star Odell Beckham Jr. was escorted off a flight by police in Miami. According to American Airlines, he refused to fasten his seatbelt. Beckham's lawyer denies that account. A JetBlue flight from New York to Salt Lake City was met by police after a passenger allegedly threatened a woman on board with a razor. This follows an incident earlier in the month where the TSA missed a box cutter in a disruptive passenger's bag. TSA Administrator David Pekoski insists air travel is safe.
Passengers shouldn't be concerned. We have literally all hands on deck when that happens and try to figure out why and then very quickly put measures in place to prevent it from happening again.
Airlines expect today, Monday, to be a very busy travel day as folks look to stretch their Thanksgiving holiday. The weather is better. We only saw a handful of flight delays up on the boards here at Reagan National Airport. We also saw very long security lines this morning as the airports remain packed for another day. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Reagan National Airport, Virginia.
U.S. Postal Service announcing its shipping deadlines for the rest of the holiday season. USPS officials say items should be sent as soon as possible. Okay, do it ASAP in order to make it to its destination by Christmas Eve. The retail ground service deadline is December 17th, while Priority Mail Service is December 19th, and Priority Mail Express is December 22nd. So if you want to avoid all the dates, all the confusion, just send it in the mail ASAP, right? Do it. Get out of the way. Final check of the forecast next. Up next, CBS Evening News. How the protests in China could impact your holiday shopping. Then on KOAM News at 6, going to have more on efforts to reduce the backlog of rape kits in Missouri. Plus, Freeman Health System helping people get enrolled in the healthcare marketplace through the Affordable Care Act. And going to hear from the Lamar Tigers as they head to the Class II state championship game. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and, of course, KOAM News at 6. Going back to Doug Kenny, quick check of the forecast.
Of course, not a bad night for us tonight as we drop back into the upper 40s to near 50. It is really going to get windy. We're going to have winds gusting 45 to 50 at times throughout the overnight hours. Partly sunny tomorrow, 66, and then turning much colder by Wednesday. Jordan?
Doug, thank you as always. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you right back here at 6.